Hey guys, Ollie here, and just improvising a little review here. Those of you who've been following my gaming channel, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 3, like, a lot. I've finished the story, done all the battle gates and optional boss challenge. I'm currently in the process of looking for all the lucky emblems and just exploring, so I think I've got enough to do, like, a little impromptu review of it. Now, firstly, my question that I think you'd probably ask would be, how does it compare to other Kingdom Hearts games? Firstly, the one thing that kind of annoyed me about the game, there is no Final Fantasy characters in it. There's the Moogle that runs the shop. But other than that, the characters that were a huge part of the story for 1 and 2 and a bunch of the spin-offs are just not there. I mean, Hollow Bastion / Radiant Garden does exist, but you don't go there. You only see it in cutscenes, and, well, in Kingdom Hearts, I think it's established that Hollow Bastion / Radiant Garden is the Final Fantasy world. That's where they all come from. And, sorry, just give me an itch. But that's a minor detail, really, because the story just doesn't take you there. I mean, I suppose they could have included some if they saw fit to, but apparently not. So if you were hoping to see Final Fantasy characters, you're going to be a bit disappointed, unless... Oh, they'd better not have held those off for the DLC. Anyway, the story is Kingdom Hearts, so you know what to expect at this point. Although it's a lot more this time. Like, there are a lot more lengthy cutscenes, and you're exposed to a lot more of the extended lore of Kingdom Hearts. And normally, like, you'll do a Disney World and they'll throw like 5 minutes of story at you at the end of it, and then at the end of the game they'll just front load you with everything. And that does very much still happen here, but there is a much more even spread of exposition. I mean, it does come at the price of having to sit through a lot more lengthy cutscenes for a higher percentage of the game. But I don't mind that. The graphics are nice. It's pretty. Yeah. And speaking of, the game is visually very impressive. There are less worlds to explore, but each one is, I want to say, proportionately bigger than they would have been previously. And like, say, in previous games... Sorry, I'm umming and erring a lot. In previous games, in 1 2-hour stream, which is my average length, I could fit 2 worlds in. Now, I'm lucky if 1 stream is enough for 1 of them. And it took 3 of them to get through Arendelle. Although that was mostly because of, like, me taking forever to find Olaf. Where... Yeah, other than that, what else is there to say? Oh, the game is a treat to explore. Like, I think my favourite world, artistically, aesthetically, has to be Corona, or Corona, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, the Tangled place. Tangled Land. I just really like all the greenery and water effects. I'm a sucker for that kind of aesthetic. And I just, like, there's the fun mini-game of the town festival. So that's my favourite one, I think. Although Monstropolis is fun. Toy Box is fun. Although you can have too much of an instrumental if You've Got a Friend in Me if you're expected to spend 2 uninterrupted hours there. Well, it's not uninterrupted. There's battle music as well, but, you know, you hear it a lot. Okay, what else? Well, as I say, the story is jumbled and a complete convoluted mess, but also, I don't know, I like it. It's endearing in a way that is kind of weird. I mean, It's cheesy as all hell. It is obnoxiously cheesy. But, you know, I'm quite partial to a bit of cheese. So, yeah, although those are all positive so far, then there are nitpicks I could make and outright negatives I could point out. One such is that the game feels a little light on content. Not in terms of scale, because I've just mentioned everything seems a lot bigger, even though there are a lot less worlds to explore. There just seems like there's less to do. Like, for instance, there is one optional super boss called Dark Inferno, and he's not even hard. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. Always happens when you're recording, doesn't it? And I'm playing the background music in the OBS thing, so it's probably going to look really jarring if I edit it. Anyway, I'm rambling. Yeah, a little light on content. Also on challenge, because, like, I don't think there was any sequence in this game that actually, like, properly kicked my ass. And that's unusual. Like, normally I'll just bang my head up against the brick wall that is, say, Sephiroth for a good hour or two before I concede and then go to grind a few levels to take him on later. But there was nothing like that here. There was no real challenge to the combat. Like, I played it on standard mode. I kind of wish I'd played it on proud mode now, because at least I wouldn't have to find so many lucky emblems to see the secret ending. I know what it is anyway. In terms of the ultimate weapon, which I'm always curious about, I haven't seen it, but the quest to getting it, much the same as in any other Kingdom Hearts games, by the time you get it, you won't need it. Like, the ultimate weapon is a bragging rights thing, as usual. Because, well, you have to first find at least one of the vast majority of the synthesis materials just to get the option to synthesize it. And then you have to find 7 Orichalcum Plus materials, which I don't even know how you get those, but one of the ways you get them is finding 80 of the 90 lucky emblems, which are Disney logos scattered across the world. Some of them are quite cleverly hidden, actually. There's one in Toy Box that basically it's 3 glitter balls or whatever that are in different places, but if you stand in the right place and look at them, they form the Disney logo, and that's what you got to take a picture of. So there are some perspective puzzles, and you know what, I don't mind that. It's fun to explore and try to find them, even if I do eventually end up getting frustrated and using a guide. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'll stop rambling now. TLDR, positives, it looks really nice. The worlds are brilliantly designed, it's really good level design. And... well... there's more. The gameplay is really fun. Like, I've ragged on the combat for being unchallenging, but it really is a blast to play. There's so many ways you can approach it, and there's a much better approach, in my opinion, to the weapons. Because you can equip 3 Keyblades at once and cycle through them with the D-pad, and that can change up your style somewhat. I rarely utilised this mechanic, but I'm glad it was there. But also, every Keyblade has, like, its own second and sometimes third form, which is much more unique, and you can have a different attack style. And also, the Keyblade Forge mechanic in the synthesis shop, which is basically, you use synthesis materials to upgrade your Keyblades, so they are no longer tied to the stats that they had when you got them. So, yeah, I took the time to fully upgrade all of those and mine the materials to do so. So the Kingdom Key starts at 3 attack and 3 magic, and at its maximum it's 8 of each of those. that's sorry, blank there. That's quite a bit stronger, and none of the Keyblades, even at max power, end up being that much stronger than each other. So I mean, obviously there is some difference. The strongest one, I think, is... Hold on, just wait for the music to start again, it'll repeat. I'm not going to wait, I'm just going to keep talking. The strongest one, in my opinion, or at least... I got distracted by a notification. Is the Wheel of Fate one that you get in the Caribbean. That's another gripe of mine. There are only 2 worlds that I can think of off the top of my head that were in previous games, and one of them is Port Royal. Like, as if anyone asked for that one to come back. Although I do like it a lot more this time around. There's a fun sailing mechanic for exploration, and, like, my favourite Zelda is Wind Waker, so I'm a sucker for that stuff. What was the other one that may come? Oh, there's Twilight Town. That's not a Disney World, though, is it? There was one more Disney World that was that made a comeback. Apart from 100 Acre Wood, which, by the way, is over in like 20 minutes. Sorry, I'm just drawing a blank on which other worlds. Okay, there's Tangled Land, Frozen Land, they're new. Monstropolis. Yeah, my point is you don't go back to a lot of the old favourite places, although I can understand why you wouldn't, because what else is there to do there? A lot of the worlds are new, so Frozen, Tangled, Toy Story, Monsters Inc. What else? You don't actually go to the Disney Castle, which I found kind of weird. Okay, I'm really just rambling now. I was trying to wrap this up like ages ago. Right. Positives. Graphical flair. It looks very nice. The combat is really fun. The worlds are really well designed and a pleasure to play through. Olympus! That was the other one. But it's not just the Colosseum this time. It's the actual, like, world. And you get, like, Mount Olympus and the full city of Thebes and everything to explore. And I love that. Because I'm a sucker for Greek mythology as well. So, you know, that was fun for me. But I don't really think you go back to any other worlds you've been to previously from Disney. Which, you know, I don't mind, but would have been nice. Fun combat, really good level design. Okay, the story is a mess. But if you've been following, there is a lot of satisfying payoff. And I played everything in this series. I still had to look up a 45-minute recap. And, you know, refresh myself on there is a reminder sort of feature, sort of like the reminiscence feature in the Yakuza series, but it's, well, less in-depth about it. They seem more like trailers for the previous games, to be honest. But they're there, they give you a grasp of what happens, roughly. And there is enough exposition in the game to remind you where things are. You can basically follow it if you pay attention. But it's not even important, just have fun with the gameplay if that's what you're there for. I think if I had to put a numerical score on this, I would probably give it... I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Lack of Final Fantasy characters. I was probably one of the few that was more in Kingdom Hearts for the Final Fantasy characters than the Disney ones. At least in the beginning. So I'm quite disappointed that they're not in this one. And I'm hoping for DLC that will put that right. And the other point I knock out for is the aforementioned lightness of content. Once you've done the story, other than looking for lucky emblems, there's not a lot to do. Like, each world has a mini-game or two, but there's very little reason to do it. Like, in previous games, there's a slew of optional super bosses. This time there's one. He's not even that hard. And battle gates, which are just, like, random battles, really. They're not that challenging either. Like, the whole experience kind of left me wanting more. Not from the story, but from a gameplay perspective. I didn't feel like... I put more than enough time into it, but for some reason it just didn't feel as satisfying as finishing other games in the series did. But it was still really good, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And I've talked your ear off for long enough, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Thanks for watching. If you stuck with this video for all of this time, God bless you. And I'll see you tomorrow, guys.